Thank you for calling. I'm happy to assist you. Huh? The new boss in Deadly Assault is being annoying? Don't worry, we'll figure it out together. The Thrall and Sobek duo have probably become the most discussed endgame boss so far. Their battle feels very different compared to the previous ones. So let's start by taking a look at the overall structure of the fight. In the beginning of the battle, the boss throws swords from the sky for about 9 seconds. Then, the Thrall performs a joint attack with Sobek called Fusion Attack, parrying which awards you performance points and puts him in a weakened state. After the weakened state is over, you are left one-on-one with the Thrall. You have a total of 25 seconds to deal damage to him. With 2 stunners in the team and ultimate staggers, it is possible to stun him here twice. But most team compositions utilize classic DPS stunner support rotation, so realistically you can count on having only one stun window. After 25 seconds pass, or after recovering from stun, the Thrall summons Sobek to fight in his place. Sobek can't be stunned and doesn't have an anomaly gauge, leaving you with only one way out, brute forcing him with pure damage. Defeating Sobek gives you 2000 performance points. After you are done with Sobek, the Thrall comes back and prepares a Miasma shield stage. During it, he attacks quite frequently, giving you the opportunity to deplete the shield through parrying. After 2 waves of strikes, the Thrall and Sobek perform a fusion attack again, giving out the remaining portion of performance points. At this time of the fight, the Miasma shield is most likely depleted, and you get to the stun phase. The fight cycles back to the lone Thrall section, where you have about 25 seconds to deal damage and quickly stun him again. Most likely, the fight will end with Sobek taking the stage back. Now that you know in general how the fight goes, let's take a closer look at each stage. For the first 10 seconds, you can't do much except dodge when needed. When selecting an agent to parry a fusion attack, consider picking an agent who needs to build decibels faster, as the parry deals the same days regardless of agent's specialty. If you bring an agent with an evasive assist, you will have to switch manually to an agent capable of defensive assist, as the fusion attack can be evaded, but evading it doesn't apply weakened state and doesn't grant you performance points. Sobek lives with a parryable tail attack. The Thrall himself has a relatively small moveset. First is a parryable poke, followed by a hidden slash. Sometimes it is preceded by 2 slashes, with the first one being parryable. Another melee attack is 3 slashes, with the first and the last one being parryable. You can get hit by a hidden slash, but the quick timing allows you to avoid the damage by utilizing invincibility frames left over from the parry. The Thrall has 2 long-ranged attacks that can be evaded. For the first one, he throws a sword at your agent's position. For the second one, the Thrall summons 5 swords that drop following your agent's movement, and finishes with one dodgeable only big sword hit. After taking the stage, Sobek's first move is always 2 charms, followed by a tail attack. Only the first jump is parryable. If you are using agents that benefit from parrying incoming damage, the first attack becomes a reliable way of activating their bonuses. Besides jumping, Sobek's set of attacks includes a parryable tail attack and a parryable lure attack that will pull your agent closer. Sobek has a ranged attack, which consists of 3 laser shots performed one by one. It can be evaded by certain agents. Lastly, Sobek has a launch sequence, during which the Thrall comes out to attack too. Parrying Thrall's attacks during this sequence builds days on him, allowing you to stun him faster after dealing with Sobek and Miasma shield. You can recognize the beginning of the sequence by a small camera adjustment that happens automatically. It is important to note that the last hit of the sequence despite looking similar to a fusion attack, in fact is not one, and doesn't award performance points for a parry. After you defeat Sobek, the Thrall charges a Miasma shield. While you can't interrupt him, you should use this opportunity to build a bit more days, so you can go into stun directly after clearing the shield. Miasma shield stage refunds quite a lot of energy in decibels, so it's not a bad idea to spend some resources here. Especially, make sure to refund some defensive assist points through ultimates, as the first sequence of parries will use them up. The second sequence and the fusion attack give you infinite parry, so take advantage of that. If there is some Miasma shield left after the fusion attack, you'll get to fight the Thrall alone, but protected by the remaining shield, so depleting it should still take priority. Perform defensive and evasive assists, dodge counters, and support agents' ultimates to deal with it faster. Agents with evasive assists feel a bit miserable to play during Miasma stage. They can evade the attack, but their vital view mechanic slows down the fight without slowing down the timer. So, if you have to bring one, parry manually between two agents with defensive assists. Thrall has a baseline of 200% stun damage multiplier. When switching with Sobek, the stun damage multiplier increases by 10%. First switch happens after a fusion attack. The second one counts after Sobek takes place. And the third one after the boss recovers from Miasma shield stage and stun. To put it short, you can expect 210% damage multiplier for the first stun, 220% for the second, and 230% for the third. Technically, that gives us the deadly assault boss with the highest stun damage multiplier so far. Unfortunately, while raising his stun damage multiplier, he also increases his anomaly build-up resistance, which is already quite high to begin with. So despite having ice and physical weaknesses, small damage windows and growing anomaly resistance make this boss unsuitable for anomaly teams. Rapture agents and attackers are a better choice for this fight, and obviously Dialin, who stuns quickly due to matching the enemy weakness, is capable of carrying most DPSs into a 3-star score. The fight is choreographed very precisely. The boss is doing his own dance, and you have to react to his actions and seek opportunities to deal damage in small bursts. I like the resulting cinematic feel with the fight, but this kind of structure leaves a little room for mistakes. Some players note that the battle seems unfitting for a time mode due to multiple mechanics that hinder your ability to deal damage. In my opinion, the Sobek part of the fight overstays its welcome and feels tedious, punishing agents that deal poor damage out of stun windows. Evasive assist agents got shafted for the second time this season, which is unfortunate, as Billy, for example, otherwise matches the fight pretty well. So what are your thoughts on the Thrall? Would you like to leave a complaint about him in the comments below? I will see you soon. Bye bye!